Well, thank you for taking the time to meet with me. And now let's take a look at JRobot 6th grade science software with ESOL, gifted, and special education accommodations. Well, JRobot comes with a tutorial, so you don't need to have someone come in and do a lot of training. The tutorial teaches students how to use it, teaches teachers how to use it, and there's also a 30-minute YouTube video that teachers can watch and learn how to use JRobot. For the experienced users, these are the 6th grade Earth Science lessons. These are some of the easier ones. These are a little bit more advanced, and there's even some bonus STEM lessons, a lesson on math, some engineering, and that's a nice little bonus. And it's all Georgia standards. We don't sell to Florida, we don't sell to Texas. This is written by a Georgia teacher for Georgia. It has a laser focus on the Georgia standards. But let me first show you our feature for tests. A lot of teachers spend a lot of time grading tests. It can take over an hour to grade all the tests, or sometimes you're tempted to have the students do it, and that leads to a lot of mistakes. So it's really nice to have that feature computerized. And JRobot offers quarterly benchmark tests. You can do pre-tests and post-tests. You can start in August with a pre-test, and then 5 weeks later give a post-test, and then measure the growth in that 5 weeks. There's also end of course exams. That's really valuable at a time where 6th grade students don't have to take the Georgia milestones, but you still want an assessment and you still want to have them ramping up for something, so you can give your own end of course exam, 30 or 60 questions, and it's designed to be taken within one period, so you don't have to have a block schedule for the kids to take that test. Let's take a look at one of the benchmark tests. Let's look at astronomy. I'm going to enter, let's pretend I'm a student with a long name. So a very long name with interesting punctuation. JRobot doesn't cut it off, doesn't reject interesting punctuation. It respects every student's culture, and sometimes it's those little things that make a big difference. So it's nice that JRobot does that. Are we taking a pre-test or a post-test? Let's take the pre-test, and I'm going to click some correct answers, and maybe the student next to me wants to copy me, and you can see that it's actually very hard to do that because as soon as I click the answer, it goes on to the next question. So this reduces cheating. Notice some of the multiple choice are 5-part instead of 4. That increases the precision of the test. And notice some of them had pictures and some of them don't. So some of them are visual questions and some of them are not. If I want to skip over a question, I can do that. And this read to me button is really important. In a special education classroom, in an ESOL classroom, some students might have a read aloud accommodation and other students don't. In the past, it's always been very awkward to deliver that accommodation, maybe embarrassing for some students. But when you have a computer do it, if the child gets the read aloud accommodation, you pass headphones to the child and they're going to click the read to me button. The rest of the class does not get the headphones and does not click the button. So the accommodation is delivered much easier with more dignity for the student, and it doesn't have to be a co-teaching environment anymore. One teacher can deliver that accommodation. So I'm going to get through the quiz really quickly here, get through the test really quickly. And I'm probably not going to get a very good score because I'm going so quickly here, but that's okay. I'm just demonstrating how the test works. And here's the skip question. So every question is eventually answered, even if you have to just guess. And look, I got a 75, even though I went through the test really quickly. You earned a C. Please call your teacher over so that your grade can be recorded in the gradebook. That's important because when JRobot's turned off, all scores are erased. And that actually makes sure that the test scoring is secure and kept private, so none of the scores are sent to JRobot Education, but the teacher is required to record it in their grade book. And let's say the student doesn't call the teacher over, there's a little secret button right here that allows the teacher to recall the score and see what the child has been doing. So in the past, excuse me, some children finish tests very quickly, other children do not. So what do the children who finish quickly do? With JRobot, you say, as soon as you're done with the test, I want you to do the lesson on the origin of soil. So the child clicks right here, and while everyone's still taking the test, the child is learning a new 6th grade science standard. Notice the font is nice and large. That's important because some children need glasses, but they can't afford glasses. So they are either going to read something with a large font or they're not going to read at all. This also includes a read aloud button for children that benefit from it. That option is available. Notice there's 3 paragraphs here, 3 paragraphs here, and then we're on to the quiz. It's a nice short reading assignment, and that's another advantage of being laser focused on the Georgia standards. The textbook has pages and pages on soil because they have to satisfy the Florida standards, the New York City standards, the Wyoming standards, and that can make the reading assignment very large and not relevant to Georgia. But here we teach just the Georgia standards because to a failing student, they can't learn a whole lot of extra things. They need to be learning what they need to know, and this is focused on that. Another thing is that some students fake read. So they look like they're reading in the class. They're behaving, they're quiet, and then in 2 weeks you give them a quiz and they get a 25. You realize they learned absolutely nothing. So it's important to catch that very quickly, and JRobot is designed to do that. So you've read 6 paragraphs. They were pretty easy. They were at a 3rd or 4th grade level, and you should be able to get 100, but if you're a fake reader, you don't know the answer, so you have to guess. Notice there's not a big red X on the screen making you feel bad. It says, actually, that's a pretty good answer, but there's a better one. If I didn't do the reading, I'm going to click around until I discover erosion and decomposition of living things is the correct answer. Let's get the rest of the questions right, just for the sake of going quickly through this. So a student says, oh, I got a 75. That's terrific. I passed. But JRobot sets a very high bar. It demands 100. Even for students in special education, even for ESOL students, the bar is set very high. Because I didn't understand all of the questions, because I fake read, it gives me a motivational quote on persistence, and it makes me go back to the reading and do it all over again. And some students will go back many times until they break down and say, okay, I guess I better really read, or else I'll never get through this. I also want to point out that this reading assignment is at about a 3rd or 4th grade level. So in a 6th grade class, you have many students who read at a 6th grade level, but you also have kids that read well below. And how does a teacher differentiate? You always wish that there's a second textbook that was a little bit easier. So JRobot offers that opportunity. In a classroom setting, you could have some students reading the textbook and some students on JRobot to differentiate. So this is written at an easier level for the students that need it, and it has the read aloud button. Now let's take the quiz again. Let's pretend I finally broke down and decided I better really read, and this time I get 100, and it says, congratulations, you've mastered the standard. It gives me another motivational quote, and let me click the secret button. See, it says soil, 100% after 2 attempts. So it doesn't just tell me the score of the student, it tells me how many times they had to do the reading. And sometimes I'll see a lot of 7s and 8s populated here. And then I'll talk to the student. It gives me a chance to have a metacognitive discussion with the students. I might say, don't you have a social studies quiz tomorrow? Tonight, when you're doing your homework, why don't you go over things 7 or 8 times, since that seems to be the number that helps you remember things. Okay, I'm going to turn JRobot off and then back on again so I can show you a new feature. How is your special education department at your school? Well, it always makes me a little sad to visit schools that have 0% of the students with learning disabilities passing the Georgia milestones. So JRobot is definitely designed to increase scores among all students. Even if you have a learning disability and it takes you longer to learn, or you need to repeat things more times to activate rote memorization, you should be able to learn, and JRobot uses a lot of psychological techniques to make that happen. Let me just show you one of our special education features here. Um, this is a model of the interior of the Earth, and after that reading assignment, I should be able to take this quiz. It doesn't look like a quiz, but this just demonstrates how JRobot differentiates not just instruction, but differentiates assessment. And this is actually a quiz. It's a clickable quiz. Please click the inner core. If I did the reading assignment, I should be able to do that. It says correct. Please click the outer core. Most of my students can do that. Now click the mantle. Can you click the crust? So maybe 95 or 90% of students can click this thin brown layer here. But some students, they can't. And they try to click it and they keep missing. And it might be the result of motor skills disability. So if you have that disability, the software senses it and it makes the crust larger so that you can finally click it, so that mouse control is not interfering with your learning or your assessment. So sometimes a teacher will see the crust get larger like this, and the child does not have on their IEP that they have motor skills disability. So this becomes an important tool for saying maybe this child needs to be tested for motor skills disability, because a child's not normally tested for that unless a teacher recommends it. So JRobot allows you to make meaningful recommendations. And again, it doesn't have any message or red flag that embarrasses a child. The crust just becomes larger, and that's something easy for the teacher to spot and say, maybe I should watch how this child uses the mouse. Maybe I should talk to the counselor about getting this child tested. All right, let me show you one more thing that JRobot does. It does a lot, but I don't want to take up too much of your time. Earth, Moon, Sun system. So in the textbook, these are just photographs of the Earth, Moon, and Sun system, but it's taught much better with animation. This is a moving system, and students should be learning with animation. So I learned through the instructions how to stop and start and decrease and increase the speed of everything. And it says stop the moon when it is in the position of a full moon. Let's say I'm one of these students that just kind of fake learns. I might have to just keep clicking and clicking until I accidentally find the answer. And now I see that that's the position of the moon during a full moon. It says start and stop the moon when it's at a new moon. And I stopped it. It says, no, actually, that's about the opposite. So it gives me little clues. And eventually, maybe I don't take the clues very well. Eventually, I find the position of a new moon. Eventually, I find the position of a quarter moon. A gibbous moon, it gives me all the phases of the moon. And then it goes over tides. It goes over eclipses. And these are things that are difficult to teach, and a lot of students get these questions wrong on government tests, but JRobot teaches it very well. It teaches it with animation, which is very important for student success. And that is the presentation. What do you think? You think it's terrific? Wow. Well, that's great to hear. I can give you an order form. I can take an order right now. Or you'd like me to come back and present the software to your science instructional coach. Absolutely, I'd be happy to come back. Okay, well, let's schedule that right now. Thank you.